This is the key concept of media language for the exam preparation in question 1B. You should make notes throughout this video. You'll need to be able to summarise these theories for yourself during the class. There will be question-based tasks, so think about what your response is. The theories within this video are applied to real-world examples. However, you should think about how you can apply the theories to your own production work. Question 1B in the exam asks you to talk about one of your productions in terms of key concept. The 5 key concepts that may come up are representation, media language, narrative, genre, and audience. The wording of the question may vary, but this is essentially what you'll be asked to do. There's no way to predict which of the key concepts will appear in the exam, even if you know what they had the year before. So you'll need a sound knowledge of the theories behind all of these concepts. There will be 5 videos over the coming weeks, 1 on each of the key concepts within the exam. The videos alone are not enough. You'll need to engage in the class activities to make sure you understand how to use the theories contained in these videos. So this is a definition of media language. It's about creating meanings in media text that the audience will be able to read. That's camera, mise-en-scène, editing and sound, and how they help to construct those meanings. The audience decodes signs to understand texts, and that can be through verbal, non-verbal, gestures or actions, etc. So this concept might seem a bit more confusing, but it doesn't have to be. The advice from the exam board below is to think of it a bit like your AS exam and how you looked at the different areas of language or film language to analyse meaning in a text. It will still be necessary to mention a few specific theorists, but otherwise it should be straightforward for you. You can make reference to the other concepts in this one, such as genre or narrative, and how the media language can signify or link those. So how did you use these elements of media language to signify the theories? So these are some of the relevant theories you can apply when looking at media language, and they are outlined in this video. There are many more theories out there, and it would be up to you to accurately research any other theories you wish to apply. Perhaps with media language, it is relevant for you to do a bit more research for you to kind of understand some of the terms where you think that they might be quite similar. In the exam, again, you can expect to include 3 or 4 theories in your response, and you might be able to do a couple less, but you'd get lower marks. So when talking about media language, it is appropriate just to describe how the micro elements of mise-en-scène, camera, and editing have been used to evidence these theories, as you'll need to do this in your response. Here are some things in this table to think about when talking about those micro elements. Sound is at the bottom, but it may not be relevant to analyse in your music video, but don't forget to talk about music lyrics and visuals everywhere else. First task as a practice, think of one example of camera work in your music video. How have you used it to effect? This book is the Media Student's book, and it's the 5th edition out at the moment. This book contains a lot of useful information for students on media issues and concepts. You may find it useful as revision material. Their website also contains some useful information to accompany the book, so have a look for it. Coming up are some relevant theories around media language. In the last video I gave an example for each theory. However, in this video I'm going to give you brief definitions of each theory and the key people behind them. Then I'll talk about the micro elements of mise-en-scène, camera and editing individually and apply one of these theories as an example for you. This will be the best way to construct your response in the exam. Semiotics is an umbrella term. It's a name given to an area of media analysis which focuses on theories of signs and how they work to produce meanings. This also includes how things have come to have its significance. Semiotics does not assume that the media act as a channel of communication. Instead, they actually construct the reality that they seem to describe. Ferdinand de Saussure said that signs were cultural creations and therefore not natural. These signs are made up of the signifier and the signified. The signifier is the physical property we can see, for example this red rose. The signified is about the meaning it creates. In this case, it would mean passion or love. In truth, the signified does not need to relate what is signified. It is a cultural decision. Once we are familiar with a language, we are constantly, without intending to, decoding the meaning of every sign. On hearing or seeing these signifiers, we immediately think of the signified. Task 2. Can you think of another example of the signifier and the signified that you might see in a media text? Perhaps start with an object if you need to. Next we have denotation and connotation. Bart said that there are meanings within media texts and they have different levels, the denotation and the connotation. He said that gesture, clothing, architecture, etc. are all acting as myths within an assumed reality. John Fiske went on to say that denotation is what is filmed and connotation is how it is filmed. The diagram might help to break it down. You might understand denotation and connotation in a similar way to signifier and signified. Denotation is the first level of meaning, signs that can be seen in the media text, or denoted. Connotation is the second level of meaning, or what is connoted. This is what we can assume when we read the text. Ideologies are the third level of meaning after the denotation and connotation. This is how we take the meaning and apply it to our ideas of wider issues in society. If we use the example of the rose again, the signifier, or what is denoted, is the thing we can see. The signified, or connotation, is love and passion. The ideology is that we accept that the giving of a rose to a loved one must mean you're in love with them, and that it is a sign you're committed and romantic. This is an ideology because someone somewhere has decided that this is what they mean, and the action itself is given meaning. Peirce said that there are different kinds of signs: symbolic, iconic, indexical, motivated, meaning no verbal signifiers, so male and female toilet sign, and arbitrary, an amber traffic light meaning get ready, for example. Task 3. Research some examples for those first three signs, symbolic, iconic, and indexical, as per Peirce's theory. Intertextuality is about references within a media text that refer to another. This shows media text to be a network of references to each other, and this helps audiences to make sense of what they see. This means that arguably nothing is unique, but instead a series of references. Many music videos draw upon cinematic references to make meaning of the narrative in a way that audiences will recognise from those films. This in itself can be a form of enhanced entertainment, as if you're in on a joke because you understand that reference. Jon Stewart described music videos as incorporating, raiding, and reconstructing, and this applies to the idea of individuality. It is also common for film directors to start their careers in music video production, and their motivation is to get people interested in their work with a moving image. Stuart Hall said that media producers give audience a preferred reading of a text, and this is done using codes and conventions of things that we will recognise. Audiences will still make their own meanings from texts, so this isn't always very useful. For example, a documentary might be created in a way that asks the audience to be sympathetic of the subject. However, Hall maintains that audiences will still decide for themselves how they interpret the meaning. It may not be the way that media producers want them to. Coming back to an old theory we've used before, we can use part of Goodwin again. This time we can apply numbers 2, 3, and 6. 2. There is a relationship between lyrics and visuals, either illustrative, amplifying, or contradicting. 3. There is a relationship between music and visuals, either illustrative, amplifying, or contradicting. Signs and signifiers could be talked about with both of these, linking the meaning of what is happening to our understanding of the narrative. And 6. There is often intertextual references to films, TV programmes, and other music videos, etc. Intertextual references will also help to create meanings for audiences, as we have said before, and it might make it feel funny, and we are supposed to bring the values and ideas of another text into our understanding of this one. In the exam, you'll need to talk about the elements of media language: mise-en-scène, camera, and editing. Sound where appropriate. Here are some examples of how you might talk about each of these micro-elements, and where you might be able to apply a theory like you will do with your own music video. Mise-en-scène creates a diegetic world, which is the fictional space and time implied by the narrative, so the world in which the story takes place. Everything in the scene works together to paint a picture for us before anything has been shot. Here's the example of Tupac's California Love video. Mise-en-scène of this uses desert colours, warrior-style clothing, quad bikes, motorcycles and army terrain vehicles that depict the cast as a tribe fighting against one another. There is a sense that they are fighting for their lives, as weapons are prominent in most shots and many of them are acting aggressively. The big theory you could apply to this music video is intertextuality. The music video imitates the images seen in the film Mad Max, which had a huge cult following at the time. The film is set in an apocalyptic future, and social control is falling apart. These are images from the original film. You can see that the mise-en-scène of the music video draws heavily on these images. Audience will have certain associations with the film and recognise the message within it. They will take the same meanings from this music video as a result, and it helps the artists to represent themselves in a way that their fans might not have perceived them before. The video also has social connotations in the way it offers the audience a view of California, one of conflict and that contrasts to the sunny image it has otherwise been attributed. Camera includes shot types, camera composition, camera movement, camera angles, etc. It talks about how the camera is used and how images are sequenced that will have a significant impact on meaning. Using close-ups, establishing shots, composition, framing, etc. will all do the job of constructing the image for the audience. You should think about what those shots do for the audience. For example, a close-up creates a sense of intimacy. These are some stills from Ed Sheeran's The A-Team. Where there are shots with only her in focus, you can see that there is a lot going on around her. The whole video starts with an establishing shot on a bench. There's a shot of her walking down the street so we can see what it is like to walk in her shoes. She's clearly homeless, and we know this from some of the props used, but shots of her in situations where we'd normally be on the other side, so watching her selling a big issue. All of these ways are used to create empathy, all of these shots. You could also apply Goodwin here because there is a direct connection between the visuals and the lyrics, as Ed Sheeran seems to be singing about this girl and her life. We don't know what the connection is between them, but it's significant enough that he needs to sing about her. So the choice of shots and black and white images and costume, etc. all indicate to us that she is homeless, even though we don't actually know that. So this is where you'd also be able to talk about mise-en-scène. Looking at the editing of the music video, you're thinking about the way the shots have been cut up and put together to tell the story. So examples of where this is particularly prominent within editing is if you use a montage, jump cuts, or run two storylines at once. This is an example of Kings of Leon's music video for Use Somebody. A series of candid shots and fast-paced editing helps to create the feeling that we should feel sorry for the band and how they might struggle to see loved ones, as the lyrics suggest, because of their rock star lifestyle. A busy, fast-paced lifestyle that connotes success, but the contradiction of the lyrics create the understanding that what they're still striving for is a decent relationship. Scenes cut from huge stage performances to band members alone in hotel rooms, and this shows the contrast of their lifestyles. There are also very intimate close-up shots, and with a female who we assume they are talking about in the song. As the audience, you may not choose to accept the meaning being given to you by media producers. You could argue they have no problems in their success and fame. So this is where you could apply Hall's theory of preferred reading, where we're given an idea about the band. Whether or not we accept it is up to us. Filming any of these scenes individually would not carry the same meaning as the way that they have been edited together. Finally, make sure you sum up the theories you have seen in this video for applying to your music video in the lesson. You'll need some pretty good notes, and I will be testing you.